Hello guys, how are you all? So I have given you some homework which you need to do. Yes, that was illustration number 8 and illustration number 9. There were two questions that was required to be done from your end. Just confirm me if you have done those questions and you are able to see the screen, you are able to hear the voice and see the video. Is everything okay? So that I can start. Yes. Okay, so here is illustration number 8, which was in your homework, the bridges and sons. You have to prepare the final accounts for 31st of March 2020. You had your opening stock, purchases and sales. The debit amount is for purchases, credit amount is for sales. Bills received 50,000, returns 1 lakh and 50,000. So in the debit, what will we have? We will have sales return. This is your sales return and this is your purchase return. Okay, then we have carriage inwards, debtors and creditor. Debtors obviously debit balance, creditors always credit balance. Carriage outward, discount is again on both hand debit and credit. So debit one is the discount allowed, which is the expense because expenses are debited, and second is the discount received. Then we have salaries and wages. Insurance, rent is in credit, that means it is an income, so that is rent received. Okay, moving on. Wages and salaries, bad dates 10,000, furniture 4 lakhs, Brijesh capital 5 lakhs, Brijesh drawing 70,000, loose tools 1 lakh, printing and stationery 30, advertising 50, cash in and 45, cash at bank 2 lakhs, petty cash 5,000, machinery 3 lakhs, and commission of 10,000 in debit, that is commission expense. And then we have commission income as well. So both the things are available again here. So this way you can find out which is your income, which is your expense, and according to the nature of debit and credit, you need to identify that what type of account which should use. Then they have given the stock of 31st March, which is valued at cost price, and they have given the market price. So market price is irrelevant. We have to always value the stock at cost price. Okay. We have to depreciate the furniture and machinery by 20% and 10% as per the reducing balance method, that is the WDV method. Rent of 5,000 was paid in advance, salaries due but not paid, so that accordingly we can do the accrual adjustment. We have to make a provision for bad debts of 5%, and lastly we have a commission receivable of 5,000. So this is something accrued income of 5,000 which is not considered, that we need to adjust. So everything which is given over here, that needs to be considered, and accordingly we need to prepare the trading account, the P&L account for the year ended 31st of March, and the balance sheet. So that was an easy question for you guys. Were you able to do this? Yes, sir. Perfect. Very easy, sir. Everything okay, sir. Perfect. Okay. And same was your question number 9 of Arvind Kumar. I will not read it out because everybody is confirming that they have completed this question comfortably. So no need to read it out. But if you have any doubts, you can raise it up. You can put it up in the chat box and we can deal with it accordingly. Now, today, I am going to do one question with you so that our practice is completely perfect, and then we can move ahead for a new topic, that is accounting for non-profit organization. Okay, let's do this question number 11. That is the illustration number 11. This is a nice question with some errors in it which we need to rectify while preparing the final account. So this is a sum up right from the chapter number 1 till now. Okay, let's do it. What they have given: Abhay runs a small shop and deals with various goods. He has not been able to tally his trial balance. His trial balance is not tallied and has closed it by taking the difference to the suspense account. So whatever was the difference, he took it to the suspense account. Now we need to identify. We have Abhay's capital as 1,50,000, drawings at 75,000, fixed asset 135, opening stock 36,500, purchase and return, that is purchase return, sales and return. Sales is 850, return is 34. Due to and from customer, so due from customer is 75, due to customer is 3,25,000. Expenses 45,750. Cash, a credit balance of 3,000. That is surprising. How can we have a negative cash? Then we have bank deposits and interest earned. So bank deposit is 55,000 and interest earned is 5,750. Suspense account he has mentioned of 4,000, and lastly advertising of 2 lakh credit balance. Okay, that is the trial balance they have given. Now, Mr. Abhay is requesting our help in tallying his trial balance or also prepare his final accounts. On investigation of his books, you get the following information. So, what information we have got? Let's see. We have a closing stock of 45,000 and it could be sold over this value. So, obviously, we do not need to know the selling price, but we need to know the cost. So, we know the closing stock. Depreciation of 3,500 that needs to be provided for the year. He has not provided yet. So we need to do a withdrawal slip indicated a cash withdrawal of 15,000 which was charged as drawing. However, it was noticed that 11,000 was used for business purpose only and was entered as expenses in cash book. So 11,000 was used for the business purpose and was entered as expense in the cash book. So they have done a mistake that needs to be rectified. Goods worth rupees 19,000 were purchased on 24th of March and sold on 29th of March for 23,750 and were recorded correctly, but the purchase invoice was missed out. So they have missed out the purchase invoices of 19,000 rupees goods. Okay. Purchase return of 1,500 were routed through sales return account. Party account was correctly posted. So the other part of the entry was incorrect. One part was correct. So you need to correct it. Then expenses include 3,750 related to the period ended after 31st of March. So that will not be included after the period. Purchase book was overcast by 1,000 and it was posted to the suspense account, supplier account. Sorry, it was posted to the supplier account is correct. So you need to correct your purchase book in that case. So these are all the adjustments which we need to do, and then we need to prepare the final accounts. Now, I want to give you first chance. You have 10 minutes of your time. Take your time and in 10 minutes, try to do the rectification entries for these. Okay, wherever it is required, you need to do the rectification entries. For example, you can see that these are the rectification entries which they have given, but this you can use for just reference purposes once you are done with the brainstorming yourself. So you have your 10 minutes, which is starting now. Just try to do to this question. Try to attempt the rectification of errors, and then we can solve the question. The screen has the question. Do it fast. Last 2 minutes, my dear friends. Last 2 minutes, and then we will begin. Okay, guys. So that's all for the time. You were just asked to do the rectification entries, and now we are going to solve the whole question, that is illustration number 17. Okay. I hope you have all completed the rectification entry. Those who have not completed, complete it by now. Till the time I am preparing the final accounts, preparing the formats, okay, which we can use for the question. Okay. So this is your illustration number 11. We were asked to prepare the final account, so that obviously includes your trading and P&L account. So we will have our trading account initially, trading account, then we can prepare a P&L account separately. But if you guys are preferring to prepare a single trading and P&L account, that is also fine. Okay. So here we have the trading account. Then we will have our profit and loss account. Then we will have our balance sheet, which I believe would be a bit bigger. Okay. So now for doing every question, you need to go step by step. What is the first step? Do all the entries in one go. Okay. On one go means what? This is the trial balance. So for all trial balance, you need to pass the single effect of all the entries. So let's start by doing that. Okay. So we have first Abhay capital as 1,50,000. So in our balance sheet, it would be Abhay's capital as 1,50,000. I'm writing it into the inner column so that if there are any changes can be made over here. Okay. Then we have drawings of 75,000. So drawings are generally deducted from your capital. So let's mention it as drawings 75,000. But there are some adjustment that we will do in drawings. Okay. Then we have drawings that is done. Fixed assets 1,35,000. Fixed assets 1,35,000 again in inner column because depreciation will be charged to it. Then we have opening stock of 36,500 that will go to the trading account. 36,500. Then we have purchase and purchase return 6,35,000 and 13,500. So two purchases 6,35,000 less purchase return of 13,500. 6,75,000. Okay. 675 and 13,500. Then sales and sales return was 850 and 34. Oh, it was 850. Not 650. And sales return of 34,000. Okay. Then next we have amount from customer, due from customer and due to creditors. So we have a debtors of 95,000 and creditors of 3,25,000. So that will go to the balance sheet. Debtors we have of 95,000. And for creditors, we have some adjustments. So let's write it into the inner column, 3,25,000. Then we have expenses of 4,5,750. Obviously, that will go to your P&L, but it also have some adjustment. So let's put it as in the inner column as well. Then we have a cash of 3,000 and cash also has some adjustments. So cash 3,000. Then we have bank deposit of 55,000. And we have interest earned of 5,750. So that will go to your P&L. Then we have suspense account. Sir, where will this go? Let's prepare a suspense account separately. Okay. So we have a credit balance in the suspense account of 4,000 rupees. We have a credit balance of how much? 4,000 rupees. So we will write it as by balance brought down of 4,000 rupees. Then we have advertising, which is 2 lakh in the credit balance. Okay. I think there is some mistake. There is a misprint in this. Do not consider it in the this column. Consider it into the debit column because your total won't match. Okay. Just make that correction. This is not here in the debit column, but it is not on the credit column, but in the debit column. So this will be your expenses of 2 lakh. So it will go to the P&L. So that was your advertising. Okay. So we have done every single possible effect from the trial balance. Now we need to do the double effect transaction, that is the adjustments wherever required. So reading the first one, there is a closing stock of 45,000 which is valued at cost and could be sell over this value, but we don't not need to know the sales value, we need the closing stock value. So in my, not in the PN but in the trading account, by closing stock, the amount was 45,000, and it will have another effect in the balance sheet. So we will have a stock of 45,000. Done. Okay, that is the effect which we have given. Then second, depreciation of 13,500 needs to be provided for the year because it is not yet provided. So what would be the journal entry that you will do? So now let's do the journal entries over here. So for the first adjustment, you need to provide for the depreciation. So this would be depreciation account debited. This is an expense for you, and the amount was 13,500. By this amount, your fixed assets will be reduced. So two fixed assets, that is 13,500. So this 13,500 will go to your P&L account to depreciation, 13,500, and this will result in reducing your fixed asset by the depreciable amount, that is 13,500. So if you deduct 1,35,000 minus 13,500, it will give you 1,21,500. That is the balance of your fixed assets. That is done. Third adjustment. There was a withdrawal slip. Okay. Withdrawal slip means what? You have taken the cash out from the bank. So now for the rectification, you need to know every aspect of it. What do you mean by every aspect? So what transaction was recorded as? What was? I would say what was? What entry we did? So basically, there was a withdrawal slip. Okay, there was a withdrawal slip indicated cash withdrawal of 15,000, which was charged as drawing. But what entry you will do initially? So you will withdraw the cash. So you will debit the cash account by 15,000 and you will credit the bank account because cash will go out of the bank. You will credit the bank account by 15,000. Okay, but now what they have done? It was charged as drawing and it was noticed that 11,000 were used for business purpose only and was entered as expense in the cash book. So there is expense also booked, there is drawings also booked. That means they have done the entry of drawings account debited 15,000. They've also debited the expenses in the cash book of 11,000 and they have credited the cash account by 26,000. So now there is a lot of mess which they have already done. Now let us understand what can be done to correct it. What should be done? So this is the entry which they have done. What should be done? The first entry is correct. There is no problem with it. But second entry which they should do was drawings account, sorry, if it was used for the business purposes, so this would be expenses account debited with 11,000 and drawings should be debited with 4,000 and cash account should be credited with 15,000. So if you compare this entry with this entry, you will find the errors. You can see that this in the red is the wrong and this in the green is right. So if you compare these two, what has happened? Cash account is wrongly credited by 26,000, but it should only be credited by 15,000 only. So now it was wrongly credited wrongly by 11,000. That is the first aspect of this. The second aspect, the drawings account should be debited by 15,000, but it is, sorry, the drawings account is actually debited by 15,000, but it should be only debited by 4,000. It should be only debited by 4,000. Okay. So drawings account is debited wrongly by again 11,000. Now, if you see expenses, so expenses is 11,000 here and 11,000 here. In both the cases, it is same. So there is no change in the expenses. This has been correctly posted. The expenses entry is correct. What was the incorrect one? The drawings and cash. Cash account was incorrectly credited by 11,000 and drawings account was incorrectly debited by 11,000. So now what should be the rectification entry? It will be your cash account was incorrectly credited. So now you will what do? You will debit the cash account by 11,000 and you will credit the drawings account because it was earlier incorrectly debited by 11,000. So this is the rectification entry which you are passing now. Now, if I say that cash account is being debited by 11,000, so this will go to my balance sheet. Balance sheet, the cash was minus 3,000 earlier. The cash was minus 3,000 earlier. Why minus? Because it was mentioned on the credit side on the trial balance. So now I will correct it. This is as per working note number 2. It will be 11,000 plus 11,000 will be added to the cash account. And if I want to subtract the drawings, so if you can see here already the drawings are subtracted. So to reverse it as per the working note number 2, I would add 11,000 over here. Okay, because obviously minus minus will become plus. So that was the rectification entry for the second adjustment. Any doubts? Let us go to the third one. Goods worth rupees 15,000 were purchased on 24th of March and sold of 29th of March. Sales of 23,750 were recorded correctly, so no problem in the sales, but the purchases invoices were missing out. And if I say the purchase invoices were missing out, that means Oh my God, there was no audio in between. So let me repeat my point. Till where you have seen till now? Were you able to hear? Were you able to hear the entry up till adjustment number 4? Was that done? Yes or no? Up till adjustment number 4, it was done or no? Okay. For adjustment number 4, let me repeat this one. So here the purchase return was used in place of, sorry, sales return was used in place of purchase return. So I would say the wrong entry which they did was creditors account debit to sales return instead of purchase return. That is the wrong entry which they have done. Okay, I'm repeating the fourth one. So to correct this entry, what shall be the rectification entry? So the rectification entry would be your suspense account will be used over here because the other part is correctly debited. So here the sales return was wrongly credited. Yes or no? Sorry, the creditors account was correctly debited, but the other part of the transaction, the sales return part, they have not credited the sales return, but they have actually debited the sales return. They have actually debited the sales return. So it was wrongly debited. The sales return was wrongly debited. So now what I will do to correct it, the sales return will be credited by 1500, and the correct thing which should be done, the purchase return account, which should be credited, it will also be credited by 1500. So in all, I will debit the suspense account by 3000. Okay. So let me repeat this. The wrong entry which they did, they debited the creditors by 1500, and they also debited the sales return account by 1500. So this is the reason of main difference in the account. So if you look at the suspense account, where is my suspense account? Here it is. Here they have a balance of 4000. So out of these 4000 balance, 1500 relates to this adjustments of sales return to sales return account 1500, and to purchase return account of 1500. Now this is the journal entry. I have done the postings. Now I will also correct in my training account. So then we will have working note number 4, that is purchase return, which will increase. However, here the sales return will decrease. The working note number 4, 1500 is considered over here. That will be added. Why it is added, sir? Because the sales return is already negative, and if I want to deduct it from sales return, so minus minus will become positive. So that is 1500 again over here. Okay, so that was your point number 5 as per book. Coming to the point number 6. So they are saying the expenses include 3750 related to the period after 31st of March 2020. So this is nothing but the prepaid expenses. And if it is a prepaid expenses, it cannot be considered into current year. So what entry we should do for the prepaid expenses? So for that, we'll post an entry that would be prepaid expenses account debited with 3750 to expenses account with 3700 50. So if you see your expenses in your P&L account, so prepaid would be deducted 3,750 from here, and in outer column it will come 42,000. Okay, and in your balance sheet it would be prepaid expenses, that is your asset, 3,750 rupees. That was your point number 6 of your book. The last part, purchase return was overcast by, oh, sorry, purchase book, not purchase return. Purchase book was overcast by 1,000. That 1,000 purchase is extra booked. Now you have to reduce that. So we'll use the suspense account again. So what shall be the general entry? If you want to reduce the purchases, you need to credit the purchases. So your purchases account will be credited by 1,000 and your suspense account will be debited by 1,000. So now if you see your suspense account, it will be debited by purchases. Now see the total is matching 4,000 on both the sides. So we have cleared the suspense account. Suspense account is now cleared from the books. We have corrected all the entries and my purchases will increase. So in the trading account, as per the working note number 5, 1,000 will be added. Sorry, deducted because it was overcast. The extra was booked over here. So now only the total is required. Let's go to the trading account first. 36,500. That is your opening stock. Then you have purchases 675 minus 13,500 plus 19 minus 1,500 and minus 1,000. The total would be, what would be the total? Give me the answer. 6,78,000. So that would be your purchases. On the credit side, we have 8,50,000 minus, sorry, 8,50,000 credit minus 34,000 plus 1,500. This would give me 8,17,500. And what is the total over here? Total is 862,500. And calculate the profit. What is the profit balancing figure? What is the profit, beta? Profit is 1,48,000. Just check the total. That is correct. So here the gross profit will be carried down from here. And in my P&L account, the gross profit will be brought down as 1,48,000. Okay, then we have 42,000 as expense, 2 lakh as advertising, and 13,500 as the depreciation. Now, obviously, you need to do the total. The total is more on the debit side, it seems. So we will have a loss in the P&L. How much loss we have? 2,42,000 plus 13,500. So that would be 2,55,500. Here also 2,55,500 minus 148 minus 5,750. So I will have a net loss. That is the balancing figure. That would be 1,01,750. Okay, that will be carried down to your balance sheet. From that will be deducted from your capital. That is net loss for the current year, 1,01,750. That will be deducted from your capital. So the net capital here would be 1,50,000 minus 75,000 plus 11,000 and minus 1,01,750. Tell me the total. So there is a negative capital, negative figure of 15,750. And why it is negative? Because there is a huge loss more than the capital amount. Okay. So that is why it is coming to be a negative figure. Then we have your creditors. So no creditors adjustment. It would be as it is 3,25,000. There was no adjustment in it. So directly let us write it into the outer column. 3,25,000. No, there is increase in the creditors of 90,000. Wait. A general entry which we did for the creditors. It is purchases account debited and creditors account credited by 19,000. Right? So creditors would balance would increase in the balance insurance was 3,25,000. So it would be 3,44,000 in your creditors. Okay. Then we have done the total of your fixed assets. We have done the debtors. Your cash balance would be minus 3 plus 11. That would be 8,000. Now only thing left to do is the total of your balance sheet. Just cross tally both the sides of your balance sheet and let me know if anything is missing. So the total of the balance sheet is coming to be 328,250. So this is the actual procedure which you need to follow while doing this type of question. Because if you miss any one of the adjustment, if you miss any one of the adjustment, then the whole question will go wrong. And I cannot afford you guys to not uh, not able to justify your profession if your balance sheet is not tallied. You are an accountant, so everybody will come with problems to you. You need to solve those problems, and that is the quality of a real accountant. Yes, my dear. So this is how you can solve this. You can make the working notes. I would say from your examination perspective. Now let's come to one thing from your exam point of view. So obviously, full-fledged questions are not part of your exam, but adjustments are. The adjustments are the part of your exam. That means that can be asked in 1 mark. For example, They can ask you the rectification entry, which one of the four is correct. They can ask you the correct treatment of accruals, prepaids. They can ask you calculation related stuff, calculate the depreciation and tell us the closing balance of asset account, tell us the closing balance of cash account, etc. So to do all this from the examination point of view, you need to do some practice of the full-fledged questions. Okay, so try to solve as many as questions you can during this time so that you are fully aware of all the possible adjustment which they might have asked or they will ask, and your understanding is very clear. Okay, so this was about the final accounts. We might do one or two more questions if required, if asked by you guys. Okay, then we can move to the next topic, that is your NPO, that is accounting for non-profit organization, that is your trust and the charitable institutions. And by that, your chapter of final accounts will be completed. Okay, so now it is up to you to do a lot of practice so that we can discuss your queries in the next class and we can move ahead with the chapter. There's one query in this illustration: advertising is expenses, so why keep in debit side? My dear, the advertisement is always on the debit side. Why on the debit side? Because it is expense. The expenses are always on the debit side. Okay, but in the question it was mentioned on the credit side. That's why I asked you to mention it on the debit side. That is the correct way. Okay, that was a misprint that we have already corrected. Okay, if the total would have matched and here advertisement is written, so this advertisement will be regarded as advertising income, not an expense. So this will be considered on the credit side in my P&L account if it was on the credit side, but there was a misprint. That's why I said mention it on the debit side, and accordingly your question will be done. Okay, so that was your illustration number 11. I will give you some illustration. Try to finish off illustration number 12, 13, 14, and 15 in your homework. And then we can discuss if there are any doubts or any new concepts or any new thing which can be taken up. Okay, so that's all for today. See you all in the next class. Bye, my dear. Have a great day.